Watch a high school sprinter explode off the starting blocks, and you see the raw, unrefined energy of athletic potential. Refining that potential into elite performance is a deliberate organizational feat. Talent development requires specific institutional architecture to capture and direct those bursts of energy. To nurture this capability, institutions rely on a multi-centric organizational model. This is a framework where the responsibility for athlete development is distributed across multiple overlapping institutions, rather than centralized in a single school or club. This model requires a functional link between internal school administration and external entities like sports federations, local media, and the surrounding community. Developing elite talent is an organizational challenge that depends on specific structural alignments between coaching, administration, and community interests. To identify the mechanics of these alignments, researchers in Tanzania conducted a study involving 427 school administrators, teachers, and students to define the priorities for sports talent development. Standard survey methodology has an inherent flaw. When asked what factors lead to success, stakeholders tend to rank every variable as equally important. This chart shows the study's descriptive statistics. Responses cluster heavily into the agree and strongly agree columns across all 19 variables. This creates a sea of consensus. It is impossible to build a targeted strategy when the data provides no priority for those variables. To design effective policy, researchers must extract specific operational signals from this generalized human noise. Researchers analyzed the survey data using Principal Component Analysis, or PCA. PCA is a mathematical technique that simplifies complex datasets by grouping related, overlapping variables into a smaller set of underlying factors. The foundational validity of the data was confirmed using the Kaiser-Meyer-Olkin measure, which scored 0.801. KMO is a statistical test that checks if data is suited for factor analysis. A score above 0.8 is considered meritorious. The algorithm only isolates components with an eigenvalue greater than 1. An eigenvalue is a metric representing how much variance a given factor explains. If a factor doesn't hold more weight than one original survey question, the model discards it. This process collapsed the 19 variables into 6 distinct mathematical factors. These 6 buckets account for 60.19% of the total variance in the dataset, effectively summarizing the entire survey. While PCA provides mathematical structure, a factor is only useful for policy if it represents a highly reliable, real-world construct. To verify that reliability, the researchers applied Cronbach's alpha to the 6 factors. Cronbach's alpha is a coefficient used to measure internal consistency, or how closely a set of items operate as a unified group. The threshold for consistency is set at 0.70. Any component scoring below this line is mathematically unstable and must be discarded from the framework. Components 3, 4, 5, and 6 failed this test. Their alpha scores fell below the required threshold, indicating they lacked the consistency to guide policy. Only 2 categories survived the filter: Component 1 with a score of 0.771 and Component 2 at 0.707. This statistical filtering reveals the 2 load-bearing pillars of sports administration hidden within the survey. The first pillar, Component 1, represents external and strategic alignment. This pillar includes variables like securing support from the population and media, alongside designing programs based on actual athletic needs. It also includes collaboration with sports federations, reviewing progress, and strict adherence to established training plans. The second pillar, Component 2, governs internal governance and pedagogy. This factor relies on providing comprehensive training content and forming strong, reflective school boards to manage the program. Successful programs require both this outward-facing strategic map and the internal curriculum to execute it. The mathematical overlap between these 2 pillars highlights 2 specific variables that appear in both. The first is active collaboration with external sports federations. This action connects internal execution to external strategy. The second is the continuous review of athlete progress by both administrators and teachers. These overlapping actions are the load-bearing joints of the entire ecosystem. Policymakers cannot isolate athletic development behind gym doors. Success requires internal scaffolding supported by external community leverage.